Am I live? Am I live? I think there's 3 people in now, so I've got to get used to doing this with my other hand. Hi, Gemma. Hi. I think I am live. Yeah, there's a few more people coming in now. So hello, good evening. Welcome to Making It Monday. Just going to give it a couple more seconds so that a few more people come in. Excuse me, please, if I am looking at my laptop as well, because I can see your comments there. I can't see them on my phone. So in fact, I can't see anything on my phone because there's a big banner in the way. Right, that's better. Oh, I can see some. I can actually see some comments on my phone now as well. So a few little hellos. I can see Anne-Marie Hill. Hi, Janet and Sue, Karen, Shirley, Sally, Jeeta. Hello, everyone. And welcome to Monday. I know it's a bank holiday Monday, so I wasn't expecting huge amounts of people. So, it's lovely to see you coming in to join me. It's great. So Lizzie is on her. Hello, everybody, from Sandra. Hi, Sandra. And Marilyn and Jill and Marion and Margaret. It's so lovely to have everybody here as well. We're over the 100 now, so I'm really thrilled with that, because I thought I was going to be on my own tonight. Too many things going on in the world, bank holidays and people not being able to get out, have we? So it's lovely to have some bank holidays. We've had a bit of horrible weather here today, though, so if you've had nice weather where you are, then that's great, but I've been sewing all day. So now I need to talk about sound. I've done a bit of research and done a bit of dibbling and dabbling, and I'm hoping that you can hear me. Can you give me a thumbs up if everything with the sound is okay? Hi, Jackie Thomas. Just give me a thumbs up, and if everything's okay, then I can start thinking about starting. I had this. Oh, sounds perfect. Thank you, Jill. That's brilliant. Okay, so it looks like I've cured all the demons that were happening the last time. Your weather's terrible, yeah, and then like it affects the Wi-Fi, doesn't it? So hopefully you'll be able to, but if not, you'll be able to look back. And Jemmy says the sound is clear. Thanks, Marion. So that's great. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to tilt the camera down. Now, last time I did this, I have to apologise because I didn't tilt the camera back up to say goodbye to you later. There's so many things to think about, and I'm such a novice at this. So many things to think about. So when we start to go, remind me, tilt the camera up. If I'm saying goodbye before tilting the camera, remind me that I have to do it. All right. So I'm going to tilt this down so that you can actually see what I'm doing. I'll just show you the project first if you haven't seen it. Now, Bev Westwood said that she couldn't watch the live tonight. So what did she do? She made the project. So we know the pattern works. Thank goodness, we know the pattern works. Have noticed a little bit of a mistake in there, right at the very top where it says how much fabric we need. It says 1/2 inch. So I can see that you can read the rest of that, so don't worry about that. That was my little anomaly today, and if you've noticed it, you've passed my test. All right, so it's not 1/2 inch at all, but the pattern tells you how much it is. So yeah, hi Mary, you've made yours as well. Goodness me. So it must be okay. I tell you what, as well, when I get to it, I'll tell you what Bev did with hers if you haven't seen her post, because it's a very good idea. So tilt the camera down and let's get on with it. And while I'm down there, I can show you the project. I'm hoping you can see that. Yeah, that looks all right to me. Does it look all right to you? Yeah, it looks a lovely pattern. Thanks, Julian. Yeah, so here's our little fold away bag upside down. So it's got a little tab on, 2 little poppers to hold it. So that's the flap that come at the back. And now I've suddenly realised what I have done is forgotten to bring my H250 in, but never mind, it's only tiny little bits. And then we unfold it. You can't see all of it because it's too long for the desk. So we unfold it, and then we've got our little shopping bag. So if you're like me and you get into the supermarket and you've got yourself all prepared before you go to the supermarket, not that I go very often these days, but you're all prepared, and then you leave everything in the car. So I'm not going to be unprepared anymore. I'm going to be able to take this little thing with me because I'll have my handbag with me. All right, so this is Carrie and this is what we're going to make. So we'll make a start. I will manage without my H250, but I'll show you where to put it in. It's actually 2 tiny little squares, so you won't need very much. Okay, just get my pattern sorted out so that I can remember it. I made it, I've made it twice, and I've read through the pattern 50 million times, and I'll still go wrong. So, you know, hey ho. So what we have here is our little bits and pieces cut out. So very little to worry about cutting out, just the main bag, the flap, and the straps. If I can find the flap, there it is. There's the flap and the straps. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the straps in. Now I've brought myself a drink up, so do excuse me because I've had a bit of a funny throat today. My voice keeps giving out, so it's possibly shouting at my husband or the dogs, was it? I can't remember. They're all as bad as one another. So I've made one strap, so that's the one strap made, and I'm going to show you how I made the other one. If you're a regular watcher, then you will know how to make the straps. But for those people that haven't watched us before, or you know, haven't done very many straps or handles, I think I call them in the pattern because they're shortish, then I'll show you what to do. All right, so I've turned my iron on, and what we've got then is just a length of fabric here that tells you in the pattern everything that you need to know. And I'm going to fold it in half. I've been playing with this while I've been waiting for you. And I'm just going to give it a little press down the centre. Then we'll open it up and we'll fold the outer edges to that fold in the middle. Now this fabric is quite good. It will actually respond to the warmth of my fingers. Some fabric is a bit more resistant, but this is quite good. So we folded in the one side and given it a press. Fold in the other side as well, and press that too. I'm a bit rubbish with the old iron on the left hand, but there we go. Okay, so then we fold it in half, and you'll know me by now, I think. Those of you who watched me before know that I don't press that then. I just sew it and then press it afterwards, because I know last time I pressed it, the last time I pressed it, it was all skew-iff and I was rubbish at it. So I'm going to bring in my machine. I'm hoping that you can see that well enough. It's not a great view, but I'm hoping you can see it well enough. Yes, that's the trouble, Angela. I find that really awkward as well, and it gets in the way. Angela's saying that she finds the lead coming out of the oven. I don't know where that came from. There's no lead coming out of my oven. The lead coming out of the iron is it gets on your nerves. So yeah, it does a little bit. You're right. Okay, so now we're going to top stitch, and we're going to top stitch as close as we can to the edges. I've lost my footrest. There it is. The cat's been in here playing. Oh, it would help if I turned the machine on, wouldn't it? I've been using my new machine. I've got a new Bonina, and I've been using that for a couple of days now. And I thought, I can't do a Facebook Live with everybody watching me. I can't do a Facebook Live with my new machine. I have to do it with my old one. And now I can't remember how to use my old one. So there we go. So I'm just going to top stitch right on the very edge. If you can't hear when I'm using my machine, just shout up and I'll stop talking when I'm using it. And carry on when I'm not. So what have you been doing for the bank holiday? Have you been doing lots of different things? Bank holiday Mondays, I always stay at home because I live by the seaside, and it is horrendous on a bank holiday, so I do not go out of the house, not at all. We've just been out to walk the dogs a little bit today, and that's about it. The traffic's always horrendous. Even in the rain, it's horrendous. So we stay put. The machine is nice and quiet. That's great. Thanks, Mirror. You can hear me as well. So that's brilliant. Okay. Well, that's what I like to hear because I tried everything. I don't know whether you remember me saying last time, I've tried everything with the sound and nothing would work, but I think I've cracked it. So that's brilliant. So you've been to a steam show at Yeovil, Shirley. That's lovely. That's only just down the road from me, to be honest. So that sounds lovely. But so the weather out in the US hasn't been so great either. What is bank holiday in London? So Jerry, it's a public holiday. I think in England anyway, and I think in Wales we have 8 a year. I think in Scotland they have 9, and it's just public holidays where the banks traditionally closed and still do, but most of the shops and things like that are still open, and so yeah, so it's nice to have a day off work, to be honest. So stayed in, Diana, with plenty to do. Yes, same as me. I had plenty to do. I've been in this room all day. So, oh, Patsy, it sounds as if I'm in your sewing room. I expect yours is bigger than mine, so it would be nice if I was. Okay, so there are my 2 straps. I'm going to put those aside for a moment, and the next thing I'm going to make is the tab. Now, the tab is a small piece of fabric and it's made exactly the same way as the straps. So I have done that for you, just cut off that little thread. I've done that just to save a little bit of time. It's boring watching me. I'm going to thread on the swivel clip. It's a 1/2 inch one, so it's tiny. So and I'm not going to bother to stitch up close to it. Do you see where I'm pointing to there? Usually I would stitch up close to stop it moving, but it's so small, I'm not going to bother. What I am going to do is to just baste across there so it's just like one piece of fabric, and then it won't move about for me. And usually when I do this, I start in the middle because the machine tends to push it away. But if you start in the middle and then you reverse on yourself, it usually stays put. So there we go. That isn't the tidiest of stitching, but it doesn't matter because it'll be in the seam allowance. All right. So that's your tab already made. So can you see that? It's all sorted. I'm going to bring that light around a little bit more because it's casting a shadow. Is that a bit better? That's it. So there we have the tab. So the straps are done and the tab, I'll put them to one side. The next thing we need to do, and this bag is so quick to make, I'm sure you'll love it, and I'd made a couple of prototypes and my friend came round this afternoon. We're having a new puppy, I'm so excited, and she came to bring me her crate. We have one in the car, but it's quite big, so she bought me a smaller one for the puppy in the house, and I gave her one of the bags that I'd made as a prototype. She was thrilled to bits. So I've made somebody's day today. So this is the tab, all one piece again, and we're going to fold it in half so that the 2 short edges meet, and then we're going to sew from here down that side and from here down that side, but we're not going to sew the top, right? So the top we're going to leave open. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that under and sew down those 2 edges. I don't think you would have wanted to see me fiddle with my machine. It's a beautiful machine and I absolutely love it, but I need more time to practice. This is my workhorse and I love this one too. So I'm going to just trim my edges, trim my ends rather, my threads off. It's a little bit of frayed edge there. What's everybody saying? Hello Jane, hi. What make of puppy? Well, this is a funny story. Abby hasn't got a story like this, I don't think. If you know Abby, she's full of stories, but she hasn't got a story like this. I went to the hairdressers a couple of weeks ago, and I knew that my hairdresser had had puppies. She's got Dachshunds, and it was a bit of a surprise. So she's got miniature Dachshunds, so that's what we're having. But I went to the hairdressers, and I asked her how the puppies were doing, and she said, I've got one left, I'll show you a picture. I said, no, I don't want to see pictures, thank you very much. I have 2 dogs, that's plenty. And so she said, so suddenly this photograph was in my face. And he was adorable. She was adorable. So she said it's a little girl. So anyway, long story short, we ended up saying, yes, we'll have this puppy. So yeah, we named it, and she started calling the puppy by its name. And I hadn't seen the puppy at this point, but she was calling it by the name that we'd given it. And I think it was Friday. It was either Thursday or Friday. I had, I'll put you up to see me for a second. Either Thursday or Friday, yes. I had a phone call. No, I had a text message from my hairdresser. And I thought, oh, I wonder what she wants. Oh, everything's all right. Anyway, the message went, hi, love. Turns out Pepper is a boy, not a girl. And I'm thinking, how on earth did she miss that? And I said, oh, fine, okay. How did you discover it? And she said, we went to the vet. So it took the vet to say that this girl that we were having is a boy. We've got 2 girls at home, so I was quite happy having a girl. And she said, I hope it's all right if you still want him. So I said, of course it's all right. Of course it's all right. So we're having a little boy, miniature dachshund, and he's a tan colour. We'd called him Pepper because is a girl, and it's kind of a girly name. And he's got all black hairs down the back of a tan back. And so we thought, oh, that's nice. So anyway, he's not a girl, he's a boy. And he's called Frank now, or Frankie. So, yeah, so I don't quite know how it happened, but apparently we're having a little boy now. So I'm quite excited. We're getting him on Thursday. So Pepper's a good name, but I just felt it was a bit girly. And having already been 6 weeks as a girl, and now he's a boy, I thought, oh, I better give him a boyish name. So I've called him Frank. It seems, a boy's name. Okay, so we'll poke you down again. And while I've been chatting, all I've done, I sewed the 2 ends down like you saw, and all I've done is turn it through, make sure your corners are nice and crisp, and I've been playing with it so the edges are nice and crisp as well, and I'm just popping the iron over it for a second. Left-handed, look at that. Great. I am right-handed. Okay, so now what we need to do is to put some tabs on. So I need my ruler, and we're going to measure just where we're going to put the tabs. So I'm hoping that I've got everything by my side except for my H250. So I'm going to measure in from the folded edge. So that's the folded edge. I'm going to measure in from there, and there again the pattern tells you exactly how much to measure. I mean, if you didn't want to put 2 tabs in, you could put 1 in the center if you wanted to, but I think it makes the whole flap sit a lot better when you put 2. So I don't know if you can see it. I'll try and bring it up to the camera. Just have a look. Is it too far that side? Yeah. Is that better? And the dots that I've made are just at the bottom there. So we're going to pop those tabs on. I've got my those snaps on. I've got my little, I need 2 buttons and 2, I call them rubber rings. I don't know what anybody else calls them, but I call them rubber rings and top hats. So I'm going to pick 2 rubber rings for this side. I don't know how you do it either. All I'm saying is just watch your fingers. Now, I do this with my stiletto, and we're going through the 2 layers of fabric. Okay, so we're going to pop the tabs in, put those on the back, ready, do the next one. So Frankie, yes, he is a surprise. Frankly, he will be a surprise, but he's absolutely gorgeous. I don't care what he is. He's absolutely lovely, and I can't wait to I'm getting him on Thursday. And I've ordered his blue dish because the girls have got pink ones, and I've ordered him this and I've ordered him that, so I'm spending loads of money on him already. So just popping the snap fasteners on there now, give it a squeeze. Pop that one on as well. Give that a squeeze. And there's our flap sorted out. Okay. So this is the top, this is left open. All right. And this is the folded edge. So these are at the bottom. Now, because I refer to the wrong side and the right side, what we're saying is that where the buttons are on this flap, that's where the right side is. Okay, this is the right side, and where the rubber rings are, the bits that snap together, that's the wrong side. So we'll remember that that's the wrong side. All right. So just put my others away. Try and keep things nice and tidy. I'm going to push that out of the way a second, because the next thing I'm going to do, and I've prepared this as well, this is our main bag piece, so you can see it's quite long and it will fold in half. But before we do anything to it, we need to turn over 1/4 inch on both these short sides. So you can see that's really long, so I've just popped it into the centre. So I want to turn over 1/4 inch on both these long sides, and I'm cheating. I've put quilter's tape all down the edge. I know it's a bit extravagant, possibly, but quilter's tape is the best thing in my life ever, apart from 2 dogs, 3 soon to be, because it makes it so easy. The quilter's tape itself, and I will pull the back off now, I've got you with me, so pull the paper off, and the quilter's tape itself is 1/4 inch, so I can just carefully turn this over and press it down, and I don't have to measure it. I absolutely love that I don't have to measure, and you don't have to even get the iron on it either, because it makes it nice and flat. And this is so much quicker than measuring. Now, there's a story behind this, because I've got one of those rulers that you just put under. It measures 1/4 inch, and you can put your iron on top. But do you think I can find it? No, I can't. I think it's up there, up there. And if you could see in front of me, if you could see what I could see, you'd be absolutely shocked. But that's another story. That's for another day. So I've turned over the edges on both sides. All right, you can see. So that's the short edges, and I've just turned over. Now, if you want to, obviously, you can measure, or you can just do it by eye and use your iron. It's just quicker for me if I do it like this. And quilter's tape is the best thing ever, and it's really cheap. I think you get 3 big rolls for £10 or something. So it's what I like to go to. Now we're going to now we've done that, we're going to add the straps or the handles and the flap. So on the one edge, we're going to have the handles and the flap, so that will be the back, and on the other edge, this side, we're going to just have the handles. That will obviously be the front. Okay, so what I'm going to do, the pattern tells you exactly how much. What I will do to start with, and before I measure, is to just find my middle, the centre, find the centre there, because we want to make sure that flap is central. And I've just got my heat erasable pen, and I'm just going to make a mark there. And I'm going to bring it down a little bit. And then I'm measuring from that centre point, from the edge into here, I'm measuring 1/2 inch. Tells you on the pattern what to do. And I'm going to draw a line. I've tested this heat erasable pen, and it doesn't bleach this fabric, so we're all okay. So I've made a mark down the centre. Can you see that? If I bring it up just to show you a little bit. Okay, so mark down the centre, and a line. I've drawn a line right the way across. I'm also going to measure in the sides as well. 4 inches, and I'm going to make a mark there too. I'm hoping that once I've done this, you'll be able to see it. We need to do this on both sides, because obviously we are Okay, so can you see what I've done? I've got 3 vertical lines there. 1, 2, 3. One's the centre and one's either side. 4 inches in. It doesn't look like 4 inches, but it is. And then I've made a horizontal line across. Can you see that? All right, and that's for us to be able to get the placement right. So the first thing I'm going to do is to find the centre of my flap. And I'm going to make a little mark there as well. And this is where we need to know, actually I've done that on the wrong side, which is the wrong side. So these are the little rubber rings, and this is the right side. So we want to put the wrong side of the flap down to the wrong side of the fabric. So I've got the wrong side of the fabric facing me, all right, so you can see the difference there. And I've got the right side of the flap facing me, so wrong sides together, all right. And then I'm going to line up those marks there. See if I can just show you. I've lined up the marks there, so the centre of the let's bring it a little bit closer if I can. The centre of the flap with the centre of the top of the main bag, and I've put the top edge of the flap, the raw edges, along this line. Can you see that? So it's 1/2 inch down from the top. All right. I'm going to pop a couple of pins in there to stop it moving while I just pop the straps on as well. And what I am going to do is to pop a pin at the bottom as well, and that tends to help it stop it going from side to side. Okay. Who's doing what? Jackie Durant's been tidying and consolidating everything these last few weeks. Do you know what? I tidy all the time and it just doesn't seem to stay like it, so I'm going to give up. I'm going to give up. Anne says it's very clear. That's great. Okay. Okay. Better to sew in disorganised rooms. Jerry, I'm with you. I am with you on that one. Absolutely. Okay, so now I'm going to put the straps in, and I'm going to extend these lines a little bit for you. Can you see me there, or is it too far up? No, it's a bit too far up. Sorry. I'm going to extend these lines a little bit because it will make it a little bit easier for me. That's it. So the straps now, you're working back to front. There's a little bird's nest there. I'm working back to front for you because it's a little bit easier for me, so bear with me. The end of the strap, and I've got my double fold on the inside, is going right in that corner there. Can you see that? So there's my horizontal line, there's the edge of my strap, and it's going a 1/2 inch down like that. So there again, I'm going to pop a pin in. Okay. Make sure your strap is not twisted. Okay. And we're going to bring the strap around, make sure it's not twisted, and we're going exactly the same place, so on the outside of that line, all right, and on the horizontal line there. Now we do have to put the other strap on the other side, and before I do that, I am going to do the next step on this one, because this is a little difficult. If you want, not difficult, but a little fiddly. If you want to use some quilter's tape on these, then please do so. And I am thinking that I might, just to show you how I would use it. So it will hold it all in together, ready for sewing, which is the next step. So I'm going to put a little piece there on top of that strap. I'm going to put a piece on the top of the flap, doesn't matter if it goes over. That will help to hold that in place, and a little bit on the top of the strap, because what we want to do is to make sure that these straps are at a 90-degree angle to the top, because otherwise they look really silly when when you're using it. They'll be at an angle. Peel the back off. Now, as I said, you don't have to use quilter's tape, but I find it does make it a little bit easier, and this, if the back came off, it would be easier, of course. And this is a little bit, it's just a little bit fiddly. But what we're going to do is we're going to use that line there now, and if you want to extend your line to the end, then feel free to do that. That's absolutely fine. And we're going to fold this over so that it covers the flap and the handles. All right, so I'll hold this up a little bit, and we're going to fold that over. Can you see that? Is everybody happy with that? All right, so, oh, thank you, Teresa. It's going to make a great, they are lovely gifts. And when I gave it to my friend today, she was absolutely thrilled, because she said, oh, I could do with one of those in my handbag, or when I just want to take my keys. And to do the photograph of this, I just I put it on my keys, and yeah, wrote a little shopping list. You see, I got wine on there. Anybody that's downloaded the pattern, you can see wine on my shopping list. Well, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to put a couple of little pieces of quilter's tape on the end, because that makes it easier as well to sew on each end. And we're going to take this to the sewing machine, and what we'll do is we will top stitch along here, and this will help to keep the strap nice and strong, because what we're going to do at this stage is we're going to top stitch as near to this edge as we can. All right, so near to this edge, not the outside edge but the inside edge, and there's a reason for that which I will show you in a little while. Okay, so we're going to top stitch all along this edge, over the handles, over the flap, right on the very edge here. If you're not confident to do it right on the very edge, it doesn't matter if it's a little bit in, but the closer to the edge you can do it, you know, the better. Sort of between a 1/16 and an 1/8 of an inch if you can. I'm going to bring my machine in again. Sorry, I wobbled the camera then. I'm so sorry. Okay. And we're going to top stitch all the way down. So as close to the edge as you can. Now I have left my stitch at about, my stitch length at about 2.5 for this, only because we are holding these straps in place, straps and flaps and what have you. All right, just take your time, go nice and steady, and while you're there you can just make sure that the handles are at 90 degrees, and then they'll sit nicely afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to push that back out for a second, and I'll just show you this. Sorry, I've got messages coming up on here again, so I'm going to get rid of those. So you can see that we've top stitched all along the edge. Oh, a bit too far in. Okay, all along the edge there. So that's holding those. So I can take those pins out now, and that will hold in place. So basically, apart from doing the straps, apart from the fact that there's no flap, rather, sorry, we're going to do exactly the same on the other edge. Okay, so take your piece of fabric and give it a fold. Oh, it doesn't want to play. What's everybody saying? There you go, Amazon shop. So you'll find your quilter's tape in the Amazon shop. Perfect, thank you for putting that up. Okay, so what I'm doing again is I've marked, you can see that I've marked there, sorry I'm going off at a tangent, marked here. All right, and pop the ruler on, and we'll draw a line. I know you can't see me because I've got my hand in the way. Draw a line all the way across. Okay, then I'm obviously not putting the flap in the middle. But I'm going to measure in on these edges exactly the same as I did for the strap on the other side. Measure in there and measure in there. So we've got exactly the same bit. You don't have to find the centre if you don't want to, but I find it a little bit easier for me to just do it the same as I did it the last time. So again, with your strap, you're coming into the corner of that mark, those two marks there. So 1/2 inch from the top, popping in a pin, or if you want to do it at this stage with quilter's tape on this bit, then you can do that as well. I'm going to pop in a pin and then I'm going to put a couple of bits of quilter's tape along the top. Obviously we don't need any for... Oh, why can't you find the end? Why is it that you can never find the end? There. 2 little bits. Yes, so do check out the quilter's tape in Lizzie's online Amazon shop, and there's lots of other little bits and pieces in there as well that you might fancy, and that way Lizzie gets about 5p for the privilege. But every little bit adds up, so if we all used it, it would be good. So put your little bit of quilter's tape on the top of your strap, and now, like we did again, we're folding over by that 1/2 inch, and you've got your line there, so you can kind of use your line for I'm going to put a little bit of it, if I can find them, I'm going to put a little bit of a quilter's clip there and on the edge. So if you want to measure this again with your ruler, then that's absolutely fine. If I could pick my ruler up, and this is dead on 1/2 inch, so that's good. Once you've done that, then we're going to do exactly the same thing, and we're going to stitch all along this edge closer to the strap than the outside. All right, so again, I wouldn't lengthen your stitch too much for this. I mean, anything 2.5 to 3 is absolutely fine, but that's probably big enough. So take your time, make sure your strap's at a 90 degree angle, and off you go. There we go. So once again, we have the edge all done. Oh, I didn't bring in my machine enough for you. I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm just rubbish. I told you there was a lot to think about. Okay, lovely. So what we have now, I'll squidge it up in the middle, but we have a long piece of fabric with a flap and a handle on that side. Okay, just trim off these threads a little bit. Get rid of all the mess. And now the fun starts, that we're going to do our French seams. So make sure your handles are tucked well in, and all these bits are come off, and we're going to put the sides together. I'm just going to put a pin in there for a second. Now I haven't forgotten my tab, because I'm doing French seams. We put the tab in slightly differently. All right, and I'm going to put the tab on that side and come to the other side, and we'll put a couple of pins in there as well. Just line up your tops. This is quite important because that will show. I'll probably take these pins out when I'm doing it, but you can actually see what it looks like. So my straps and my flap are down inside, all right, and I have the wrong side of the bag, wrong side of the fabric for the bag together. I've pinned down there and I've pinned down there. What we need to do now is add our tab. So what we're doing for this is that we're going to put the tab on. I just got to double check this now. I might have to look at the photograph because it took me ages to decide how I was going to do this. That's right, yeah. So it's on the inside. So we're coming down about an inch, doesn't really matter, to there, and we're going to include this tab in our sewing. But what we're going to do for this seam is that we're going to sew at 1/8 of an inch all the way down these two sides. All right, now if you're worried about sewing 1/8 of an inch, make it a fraction bigger, and then you can always trim your seam down. All right, but it's important that when you're doing a French seam that we don't have this first seam very big, because we want to enclose it in 1/4 of an inch seam when we turn it through. I hope that makes sense. All right. Oh, that's very kind of you to say so, Lynn. Lynn said, Lizzie, just love your amazing team. What a star Kath is. Well, wait till you meet me at La La Land if you're coming, then you won't think I'm such a star. Okay, right. So that's lovely of you to say so. Thank you. So I'm going to stitch from the top here down to the bottom. And I'm going to enclose at 1/8 of an inch and include that tab in the stitching. Take my pins out. So here's where you want to do a back stitch at the beginning. I'm coming up to my tab, so just make sure you hold it really nicely, and I'm going to use my stiletto because it makes it much easier. And also what I'm going to do at this point is to just reverse, because then I know that tab is solid in there. It's got another seam to be stitched through as well, so it's going to be really sturdy. So sew all the way down, and I like to sew from the open edge to the fold on both sides because that will make it even at the bottom. Okay, so you can see that my tab is enclosed there, and I've stitched all the way down there. Mine is, well, yeah, it's about 1/8 of an inch, but you know, nobody's going to cry if your machine, if your seams are 1/8 of an inch and 3/8 of an inch, or you know, it's only a bag. Nobody's going to wear it. Okay, so make sure, as I said, the top is nicely lined up there. So I'm going to take my pins out. Line up the raw edges. This fabric is so free. Is that a word? Free. It's a quiet machine. It's a lovely machine. I absolutely love this. And you'll say, well, why did you go out and buy another one then? Because this only does a straight stitch. And it does the straight stitch absolutely fantastically. But I wanted something. I just wanted it. I can have it if I want it, can't I? Okay, pop that out again a little while. So we have right sides out. See, everybody's texting me. Right sides out, handles in, and we've stitched our tab in place, and we've done some 1/8 of an inch seams. So we've got 10 minutes left, and we're going to make it. I'm just taking off the fraying bits of these because I don't want those coming through the seam that I do next. All right, so bear with me while I just get rid of those. You can cut them off afterwards, but if you leave a bit behind, it just looks so messy. So, and it's at this point, if you think that you've done the seam a little bit too wide and you want to trim it, then by all means trim. So now we're turning through. We're going to get nice corners on this because we want the the next seam to be nice and straight in the corner. And you'll find that because this is single layer, it does actually poke out really, really well. Can you see what I'm doing? Because I'm moving about like a wriggly worm. There we go. Okay. And it's at this stage where it really is beneficial to press it, because you don't want any pleats in that side. You want it to be nice and crisp and sharp with no pleating. Sorry about licking my fingers. I promise that this is just for us. Okay, and then give it a little press down the seam, so you can see that that seam's right on the edge. There's no pleating and there's no overlapping. Do the same on the other side. That's what's lovely about these wool mats. This is an Abbey wool mat, so an Avid Crafts wool mat. If you don't know who Abbey is, I'm sure somebody will be able to put a link up for Abbey, because she's Lizzie's daughter and we love her lots, and she's very, very clever. So where you've got that tab, just give it a little press and it will turn over nicely, okay, because we want that to be caught in the seam. I'll show you in a second when I've pressed this, the inside, there it is, okay. So there's your tab inside. Okay, so now what we're going to do is easy peasy straight stowing again. We're just going to put a little pin in there just to keep that stable while I just sew down. We're just going to sew down this edge and down this edge with 1/4 inch seam allowance, okay. I'll make sure I bring the machine in enough for you to see this time. Oops, just knocked my iron over. There you go. Okay. So as I say, at this stage, if you think you've done your last seams a little bit bigger than 1/8 inch, it doesn't matter if this is 3/8 inch. But if you can get it at 1/4, then that's absolutely fine. All the way down to the bottom. And again from the top of this one, 1/4 inch. Just secure your stitches at the top there, because that's obviously the top of your bag. Need to take my pin out. And then making sure that tab is at 90 degrees like you did with the straps. And there we go. So that's basically our bag made, apart from, you're going to say to me now, but the straps and the tab are pointing downwards, the flap rather are pointing downwards. Yes, they are. So what we're going to do now, I'll try and do it so that you can see. Okay, so what we're going to do now is to pull those up, those straps. We're going to pull them up, all right, and I'm going to put a clip in to hold it, and a clip to hold that side as well. And I'm going to do exactly the same with the flap and really get it nice and flat. You can pop your iron on it if you want to. Just give it a press, don't rub it because it'll all be out of shape. I'm going to put a clip in there. And what we're going to do now is we're going to top stitch all the way around. So I'll do the same with the other handles. poke them up so that they are now outside the bag. I've got some ends there, I'll trim those off afterwards. And where we top stitched right at the very bottom of the hem there, before, we're going to top stitch right at the very top, and we're going to go over the handles and the flap of the bag. Does that make sense? So I'll just pop it under the machine and then you'll be able to see what I'm doing. There we go. So we're going to start off, scissors, we're going to start off at the side here, and we're going to top stitch right at the very top of the bag. So you can see here where I've put the machine right at the very top here. So go very carefully over that. And again, I haven't changed my stitch length because this stitch length is quite long. Make sure that your straps are in place over the top. Can you see that there? Okay. And we're stitching close to the end and over the straps. Be mindful of your machine because there is a little bit of bulk here. It's not a lot, but just go slowly. Come to the other side of that strap, so take that off and make sure it's 90 degrees. Okay, we've still got 5 or 6 minutes, so we're doing all right. Is anyone bored yet? Yes, you could make this with fat quarters, yes, Elaine, and it would just mean a seam at the bottom. So the measurements that I've got, if you just had 1/2 inch, then you can put a 1/4 inch seam at the bottom. That's absolutely fine, not a problem at all. So thank you whoever answered Elaine's question there. That's brilliant. Or was it Elaine that answered the question? I'm not sure. It's gone now, so I couldn't see properly. But thank you anyway. Okay, coming up to the flap now, and we're doing exactly the same. Now if you're doing it this side, you're going blind a little bit, but you can feel where it is. Doesn't matter which side you do it, from the front or from the back. Okay, so there we have it. We're not quite finished yet, but there we have it. So what we've got on the right side is, you can see that there's 2 lots of top stitching, and that's really going to make those straps and that flap really secure. All right, so we're going to turn this in the right side, the right way around, and I promise I will trim my threads, but I'm not going to keep you an extra minute or 2 while I trim my threads. You see I've got a little bit sticking out of my seam there, but they will come off. All right. Under normal circumstances, I would press this. So we're going to have the bag with the back flat on the desk. I hope you can see this. Okay, bag flat on the desk, and you can see that the flap has got the buttons on the back now, lying on the desk, and the rubber rings sticking up. So what we're going to do is we're going to poke both handles down inside. Now, if you want to make your handles bigger, you can, but I wanted this to be a hand bag rather than a shoulder bag. And then we're going to bring one end into just beyond that flap. This is about 1/2 inch either side. Okay, we're going to fold it down. And then we're going to bring the other end, the end with the tab on, over to the edge. There are bits of frayed material everywhere. Okay, and this is how you will fold your bag when it's completed, but it's not quite completed yet. And then we will fold the bottom up to, I say the top in the pattern, and it's the top of the bag, not the top of the flap. Does that make sense? So you can see where I've folded it. And then we're going to fold it up again. And my folding isn't the best because I'm doing it quickly, but that's fine. So that's what we have. And here is our flap. So we're going to bring the flap over as it would be if I'd folded it properly. You'll fold yours much nicer than mine, I know. And what we need to do now, this is a little fiddly bit. What we need to do now is to put the other poppers on, or it won't be any good. So just make a mark where you want your popper to correspond with the front one. Okay, just make a mark there. You can't see very much on this, but I'll show you in a second. So I've made 2 marks. In fact, I made 3 because the one wasn't quite in the right place. And I'm going to unfold the bag, and you'll find that those 2 marks are kind of, they're up further to the top than they are to the bottom. So I'm just going to double check that they are in the same spot. And they are, all right? So they actually correspond to the other ones. Now, it's a bit fiddly, but we want the button of the tab inside. So there again, I'm going to use my pokey thing, what do you call it? Stiletto. I'm great with words. All right. Okay. And I'm going to push the button in from the back. So that's poked in. And this time I've got a top hat. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm concentrating so much on what I'm doing, I'm not showing you. So inside the bag, we've got our button, all right? And outside the bag, we've got the top hat. So we'll do exactly the same on the other side. Let's just double check, because I've got 2 marks there. Just double check where it is. Okay. Make a hole. Now you can make a hole with whatever you find is easiest. All I'm saying is just be careful, like I said before. We don't want anybody stabbing any fingers. So that's the easy bit. This is the more fiddly bit now. But if you've got lovely soft fabric like I have. Now, where I'm putting these, I would have put H250 on the back. But I haven't got my H250. So I would have had a 1-inch square and popped it at the back before I put that through. Does that make sense? A 1-inch square just here and pop that through. Now, it's not going to, it's only the flap. It's not going to have lots of shopping in it when you do this up. So if you don't want to, that's absolutely fine, but it's very easy to put in. It's just in the other room, so I'm not going to worry about it. But I do recommend that you put something in there to stabilize it. Okay, so we will give this a little press, get my mat back up, and we are done. And dead on 8 o'clock. Lizzie would be proud. I hope she's having a lovely time. We had such a busy week last week because in the Gold Club, and if you're not a member of the Gold Club, you missed a fantastic week last week because it was birthday week. The Gold Club is 3 years old, and didn't we, ladies? We had a fabulous time. Anybody in the Gold Club watching will just say to you what a fabulous time we had. And we had lots of fun. There was lots of prizes and things like that. But I have to say, for Lizzie particularly, it was hard work because it takes a lot of organising and a lot of arranging, and it takes up time, etc. I'm just folding this as I speak to you. So in and handles in, side without the tab in, with the tab. It's only because you want it sticking out, not inside. Fold the bottom up, fold the bottom up again, and you'll find your snaps. Pop it over, and these are a bit difficult to snap together, but they will go. And there we have it. And there we have our Carrie. What do you think? Do you think you'd like to make some? Do you think you'd like to give them away? Don't forget, if it's a bag you're making, you need to put something in it. So I find a 5p piece is enough. No, it's a lovely little useful bag, and that will go on your keys or on the zip pull of an inside pocket if you've got one in your handbag, or on your jeans pocket, or wherever you want to put it. So I'm hoping that you like it, and there we go. So let's put the camera back up. I remembered. Let's get rid of bits and pieces on there. So there we are. We've got our lovely little Carrie, and we're all sorted. I didn't realise that I had 230 people watching, so I so appreciate it. It's really, really lovely of you to spend your bank holiday evening with me. I'm so pleased, and I'm so pleased that people are saying they love it, and they're going to make some. Now, what I was going to tell you was, I'll show you up here that I shall undo this again. And what Bev did was put some more snaps. Can you see that? Put some more snaps just there so that you could fold this over and snap it shut when you're actually using it. Because obviously the snaps are too far down otherwise, or even on the wrong side. But she put some snaps under there as well, so that when you're using it, you can snap it shut. So that's a lovely idea. And I might well do that with this one, because I'm going to gift this one to somebody. So I might well do that and put some snap fasteners on there as well. And there we are. So as I said, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you the next time. Lizzie will be back for Thursday night for anybody in the gold group, and she's got a special night lined up for you on Thursday, so that's fantastic, and we'll all be watching that. And then Making It Monday will be back next week with Lizzie again. So we've got lots to look forward to. I've got the puppy coming on Thursday. I'm so chuffed. My little Frankie. So there we go. Thank you so much again. And I'm going to say goodnight. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of your evening and have a great week. Lovely to see you. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye for now. Bye.